flipping back the calendar to highlight yesteryear's finest while exploring the vast archives in cinema history. This is the Movie Review Rewind podcast on Nashville Movie Dispatch. Welcome back for another episode of the Movie Review Rewind podcast right here on Nashville Movie Dispatch. We are kicking off spooky season today. That's right. 5 Fridays in October, 5 spooky themed episodes of the Movie Review Rewind podcast heading your way. Kicking things off this season with a classic. We are heading back to 1978 for the original Halloween, also at the time advertised as John Carpenter's Halloween, to be specific. So if you're not familiar, I don't know who in this day and age would not be familiar with this tale, but this is set mostly in the fictional Illinois town of Haddonfield. The film follows mental patient Michael Myers, who was committed to a sanitarium for murdering his teenage sister one Halloween night during his childhood. He escapes 15 years later and returns to Haddonfield, where he stalks teenage babysitter Laurie Strode and her friends while his psychiatrist, Dr. Samuel Loomis, pursues him. This is a classic of the genre, inspiring one of the most iconic characters in cinema history, and we are going to dig into it today as we kick off spooky season on the Movie Review Rewind podcast. Of course, I'm your host here at Nashville Movie Dispatch, the EIC at SobrosNetwork.com as well. Big Natural Stoney Keeley. You can follow me on Twitter at Stoney Keeley collectively, at Sobros Network on all major social media platforms, and NashvilleMovieDispatch.substack.com for all of our latest work. Joined, as usual, by my co-host for the Movie Review Rewind podcast. He is a member of the Southeastern Film Critics Association, a board member of the Music City Film Critics Association. He's our resident film critic, Mr. Big Shot himself, Brandon Vick. Brandon, how are you doing on this fine October Friday?
I love this season. I love it.
I feel like we talk about it every year.
We do.
But I can't get enough of it.
If you play back any October episode, I usually talk about the weather, probably wearing sweaters.
Hoodie season's back.
That's right. But yeah, I just getting ready for spooky season, as you talked about, and just thinking about how a lot of God's unanswered prayers are a gift.
Yeah, that's an important reflection to make.
Yeah.
It's a nice reflection to make.
Yeah. I think someone once told me one of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers, but I can't remember who.
Want to say that's Garth Brooks.
Well,
it's a song. I don't know if he told you that.
Yeah, no. I keep hearing John Malkovich voices.
John Malkovich? Yeah. Did he write unanswered prayers?
Oh, he could have.
We should look into that. Yeah.
He definitely wrote Forever and Ever Amen for Randy Travis. So it's possible.
I'm glad we've learned that today. That's new information to me.
Yeah.
And of course, back by popular demand, we haven't heard from him since our episode on Ferris Bueller's Day Off back in August. Our buddy Brett's back. Brett, what are your thoughts? This is your first fall on the Movie Review Rewind podcast. We can get away with you talking about fall if you'd like to.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, we don't
know.
Hello. Oh, stop.
Oh. You know what? That was better than that time I tried to do the Dracula impression on the Halloween.
Well,
I will say it came out different than I heard it in my head.
Yeah.
It didn't. It wasn't.
Does.
It sounded very spooky in my head.
Yeah.
And it almost sounded like I was just surprised by something gross or something when I actually started saying it out loud.
Yeah, I don't know if that was spooky season.
It was supposed to be like, ooh.
Yeah, like a ghoul.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
that's
a ghoul.
Right.
Yeah, that's the Dracula
You sound like my
impression.
2-year-old.
Yes, but
when he has a blanket on his head.
Yeah, yeah.
Goodness.
But I'm with you guys. This is a great season. I think it's the best season of the year. My family, I don't know when we started this. I feel like we started Spooktober in September and go all the way through. I will say, depending on your taste, I have found times where if I do it for 2 months at the end, I'm like, I need to see something besides someone getting
I
possessed
think
or
you
something.
start-
You
yeah.
know?
I think you start too early.
Yeah, that may be a
Yeah.
problem.
I will say I did that where you watch a scary movie every day in October. I forgot what they call it, but it was
31 Days of Halloween.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
it.
That
'Cause
is
there's
it.
31 days in
That's
October.
the
Is that
governmental
correct?
name.
Right, yeah. I usually ask off for the whole month because I don't want
just take the month
I
off
don't
from
want
work.
any interference.
Yeah.
That's why I've missed a lot of weddings, birthdays, and funerals. But by the time I get to the end, I actually I'm like, oh no, fuck this.
I need to see a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I actually
let's-
want to see Christmas
Or-
Vacation.
Or, because we don't want to skip over this, there are a handful of very appropriate Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving,
movies.
that's
We
true.
wanna
That's
watch
true.
those.
See, I've got a pretty strict schedule. I have some fall movies and then some Spooktober movies
Mm.
and then some movies that aren't quite Christmas movies, but they kind of play into the magic of the holidays. Like I like in November watching like National Treasure and like Night at the Museum.
Oh, Night at the Museum's a good one. Is National Treasure during that time?
No, but it's
Oh,
just
I
like,
see.
you know, the spirit of adventure.
Oh,
It's a
okay,
Disney
okay.
movie.
Cozy indoor
Cozy
movie.
Night at the
indoor,
Museum is
yeah.
always, I think, kind of an underrated. It's perfect because there's snow and it's New York.
I like this is so stupid off topic. I like the animated Beowulf movie in November too. I think it
Oh,
plays
that's-
pretty well.
Yeah,
Mm.
no.
But I want to ask you about this concept, Brett, because Brandon and I have talked about it quite a bit. The fall movie. For me, I kick off every Labor Day weekend with an annual screening in my household of Dead Poet Society
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, the leaves outside are changing.
You've got it on your shelf, and that's the cover.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
That's a
you know,
VHS.
stuff like Remember the Titans, Friday Night
Mm-hmm.
Lights, the football movies. When Harry Met Sally, I think plays really well during the fall. Brandon's brought up You've Got Mail several times. Stuff like that. Like, I think is a fun feed into spooky season, which for me, I usually hold off until like maybe halfway through September, and I'll start with Monster House.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that,
Yeah.
and then kind of ease my way into it and go with stuff like The Wolfman and Sleepy Hollow, stuff like that. Before I get into
I feel like
Before House of a Thousand Corpses.
before House of a Thousand
I
Corpses.
feel
yes.
like the way sometimes when you explain it is like making love. Like I start
It
with
is.
this, and I'm just putting on the condom.
Yeah, I'm
But
just
by the time we get to mid-October and we're watching The Ring, Pound Town.
we're balls deep, buddy.
And by the end of October, you just need a cigarette.
Just need a cigarette. I've
Monster.
Worn the skin off my
Speaking
penis.
of sex and fucking, Monster House is one of the.
We've got an episode on Monster
Yeah,
House.
we do, and it's great in October. But honestly, if you said, "Hey, I'm going to watch that towards the end of September," I would be like, "Okay, I get it," because it's very fall. But obviously, it is very much of a Halloween one. But yeah, When Harry Met Sally, I think is a good one. That's recently come into play there.
Yeah, I don't think I've really thought about fall movies very much, but
Not too
I
many
like
people
that
do.
idea. I like that concept. I'd like when
It's
you.
mainly football movies.
I think when you first brought it up, I was like, I don't know. Outside of we've recently in recent months talked about When Harry Met Sally,
Mhm.
and that one, like the weather fits and that kind of thing.
I like Goodwill Hunting at that time too.
Yeah, something like that. But when you mentioned something like Remember the Titans, it was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like that
Yeah.
fits for that
Well,
time of
and
year
I will
too.
say again, and I mean it goes through a lot of seasons, but You've Got Mail is a good one to start with because you kind of get the fall, you kind of get. It's definitely Christmas.
It's a
then
delight.
it
I don't know
gets
if I
into-
told you, I've only seen it for the first time within the last couple months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's great.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Now remember, we're doing this in October.
But I think
Is it just a couple months ago?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
August. Yeah. He
You
saw
saw
it for
it,
the first
yeah,
time in
yeah.
August.
Yeah,
For
I
your
watched it
birthday.
too early
For your
fall.
birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's a nice way to kind of ease into some of the horror stuff.
Yeah, that's fair, and especially once you get into it, because there's the ones that like Halloween, for instance, is something I watch What I try to do is I wait towards the end of the month and I try to watch the 78 and is it 2018?
2018. Yeah.
And I try to watch those back to back because I actually got those on Blu-ray together.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys for this. One, I know it is with you, but Brett, is this in your like annual rotation every Halloween? You got to try and work this one in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is another one. I only saw it all the way. This is one of those movies that, was kind of in the water we swam in as kids, and for a lot of people for the last several decades, who Michael Myers is. Like, my kids now know who Michael Myers is, and they've never seen. They know him personally.
Oh my God, they're just babies,
and they've never seen one of these movies. Yeah. I hadn't seen this all the way through, at least, sitting down and watching it front to back until probably 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah. It's instantly become we'll get there, but you said it. It's a classic, and for a reason.
It was the same for us. I actually saw the 2018 Halloween before I saw this one all the way through.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What help me distinguish is 2018. Which one's Rob Zombie?
That's like 2008.
We don't.
2000s.
Hey, well, and I know people don't love that one.
I'm okay with the Rob Zombie.
I'm just talking about
Halloweens.
Jamie Lee Curtis's character arc.
I did.
Gotcha.
So I saw the Rob Zombie one before I saw the original.
Oh, wow.
And then after seeing the original, I've gone back and watched the last few years. I've done 2, I think the following year. And then I did Season of the Witch last year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have given more credit to Season of the Witch.
Yeah, it's kind of a cult
which is
favorite
something
now.
They wanted to do is try to have these Halloween movies but not feature Michael Myers, but Season of the Witch was such a disaster.
They wanted it to kind of be like an anthology kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And honestly, I think that's very much of like before its time. Like it was thinking outside the box when people were like, wait a minute, he's not in it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I've also gotten since then, I've gone back and watched some of the more recent Jamie Lee Curtis ones. Maybe the 2018 you're referring. How many are there? 3 of those?
Yeah, there's that one, Halloween Kills, and
I think
Halloween
I've watched
Ends.
at least 2 of those. Maybe all 3.
Halloween Kills was pretty controversial because it's basically just like kill after kill after kill. It's almost like an action movie.
Yeah, and they're just like kind of yelling for
maybe 2018 is the
Halloween
only one
Ends
of those
tonight.
I've revisited. I don't remember that.
Yeah, nothing really adds up to that legacy sequel of 2018.
Yeah.
The others are fine, but it doesn't I don't know. It doesn't really add much to it, but the whole thing of like I love the 78 to 2018. Like when you watch those back to back, that's I think that's where it really kind of
Forgive me for having to get an education on this live on the airwaves.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
But the 2018 is not a reboot in the sense that it's like the Rob Zombie one was the original over again. This is like a sequel to the original.
Halloween of 2018 is sort of like
I know I said I've seen it, but I'm asking a lot of questions.
It's like
here.
the Top Gun Maverick of Top Gun. You know what I mean?
Wasn't it framed as forget everything that happened between 1978 and now? This is like a direct sequel.
David Gordon Green basically said there's Halloween and now we're 40 years in. And then he decided he was going to do Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Now, by the time he finished that and thought, oh, I'll do something like that for The Exorcist, he is not directing another horror movie and might be directing something else that's not in horror. But yes,
Halloween Ends was not well received.
No, and Halloween Kills was kind of like you said was sort of
it was iffy
too.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the goodwill that film has is a lot of the goodwill that carried over from 2018's Halloween.
Yes, and a lot of it kind of really does.
I liked Halloween Kills.
Does from Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, I mean, it really does, which is kind of funny because within this, then she would go on to win an Oscar. But yeah, the 78 and the 2018 are. I love watching those back to back because it does show a change in obviously the characters, but also in the culture of it. And I thought it was really well done. And it made for a rated R movie, it made a lot of money. It was a huge hit, so I don't blame them for continuing it. But You know, I mean, that's kind of like...
Actually, I don't think I've seen any of the other Halloween movies except for this one, the trilogy that started in 2018, and the 2 Rob Zombie movies.
ones. I mean,
I don't think I saw
I'll
any
be
of
honest,
the
I
sequels.
have seen Halloween H2O. I have seen Halloween Resurrection, and Halloween H2O was sort of like in the peak of like Josh Hartnett Faculty and stuff, and she
Yeah.
he played her son. In Resurrection, Jamie Lee Curtis died at the beginning. So she did come back for a couple.
Was she resurrected?
No, she was not.
Okay.
And a lot of them are. I mean, it's kind of like with Nightmare on Elm Street, and especially Friday the 13th. It's kind of like you do it so much, and it's so watered down, and it's one of those I think people would watch to laugh at, and it's not like scary.
Yeah.
And that's why, honestly, like, I don't blame them for saying, and Danny McBride was a writer on these Halloween movies as well.
I do remember that.
And David Gordon Green, who's he's worked with 1,000 times. But it's amazing because to me, like, yeah, I kind of don't blame them for kind of being like, yeah, there's 78 and then there's 2018.
Yeah.
Like, let's just get it. And I think, but it's appealing in the way that Halloween 2018 came off. It was kind of like, oh, like, I remember when I watched it and did a review on it, it was kind of like, oh, this is why Michael Myers was the shit. Like, it's brutal and it's simple, and that's what John Carpenter did. So
he was that bitch, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He was that bitch.
I do like that idea of that period in between than just picking up. I know I said I've seen it, and I'm pretty sure I have.
Think you have.
I'm pretty sure I have, but I'm really interested, and I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah, it sounds like you have just heard this for the first time.
To Brett's point, I too saw the 1978 version for the first time within the last few years. The atmosphere that night was awesome. It was like a crisp, cool fall night where it wasn't like
when you first watched the 78.
When I first watched the 78, it was my wife and I in the house that we're in now, cool enough to where we could open up the windows and let the breeze flow through the house.
Okay.
I'm already scared by you just saying that you open the windows
window.
while watching this movie.
Yeah.
We had all of our Halloween decorations up. It
Okay.
was, probably a week or two into October. I had a pot of apple chili in the crock pot.
Oh.
And so we decided, hey, we've never seen this movie and its place in cinema history.
She hadn't seen it either.
Yeah, is that
Now,
an icon.
that's amazing to me that neither one of you have ever even watched
It's kind
it.
of one of those things where we were like, hey, have you seen this? No. Have you? No, I haven't. We need to fix that.
Yeah.
So it was like the perfect fall night, and I keep such a sharp image of that night in my head is like, this is what it's all about, man.
Yeah.
Like a breeze flowing through the living room. We've got apple chili in the crock pot.
Are you under
Halloween.
blankies?
Decorations are up. Yeah, we had blankets.
Shit.
After dinner, my wife made hot chocolate. We poured a little vodka in it. It was a fantastic evening.
God.
That does sound delightful.
I can't say what else happened that night.
No, I
afterwards,
don't know. But I think it
but-
involves a booty hole.
Well, no.
Oh, I jumped the gun.
You went a little.
I'm new at this.
Yeah, and not not mine anyway.
Yeah.
I can't speak. I don't know.
You don't know what happened after that.
Yeah.
No.
I can only speak for me and my wife, not the cat.
Well,
But
this is what's funny is that I at least a few years ago, and I've told everybody this story because I fell in love with Maine when my wife and I went.
oh yeah.
And I will tell, and we went in October, and even though this was it's done in Illinois,
It is.
but the towns in Maine made it. I was kind of reminiscent of like what I remember seeing of the way the film opens up and the town that they're in, and it's kind of like Halloween decorations. It's that perfect fall weather, the leaves, everything. And honestly, I associate that with Maine. Every time I watch this movie, I'm like, that's Maine.
Well, in that part of the country, something like Hocus Pocus,
Yeah.
outside of Boston, like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of thing, like
Salem, and
it's in that area very much tracks with
Yeah.
Halloween movies.
And I like the only way I can explain it is I'm like, when you kind of see the opening of it, that's sort of what Maine was like. There's these little things, and of course Stephen King is a big presence in that, and so I always think about that when I watch the movie. But this movie holds up so well, and it
really does.
Crazy because a lot of it does not. A lot of the movies made within this time, 70s and 80s, it just seems cheesy, but this really does, and I think because it's so simplistic, that it's very much of like, we're not going to dive into everything that that they ended up wanting to kind of expand this Michael Myers universe, but it's so like he was from there. This is what happened. His family. He's back, but it does fit in because it kind of does start this thing of like teenagers and sex and this rebellion, and then there's somebody coming in, and this is before Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger. And I don't know if a lot of people realize that Michael Myers is really kind of the OG, where John Carpenter said, "This is what."
Well, I mean, there are a lot of film analysts that credit Halloween with being like one of, if not the first true slasher film.
Yeah, and I mean, and the fact that you can watch it like you guys, like within 2, 3, 5 years ago, whatever. It's still got it. Now, obviously, the gore and stuff is different, but I mean the point of it and the way that it's made and everything, I thought it still fascinates me that I can watch it and be like, oh, you know what, that like. There's very few movies that I kind of watch now that first like opened up in the 70s, 80s, and I'm like, you know what, that would be scary. Like I could see where someone could go in that theater and watch and be like, damn, that was crazy.
Well, you said it, but I think the fact that we've only seen it in the last few years, and there's plenty of things that you see
well, the fact
that were
you've seen Rob Zombie
a classic at some point, or revered movies, but you go back and watch them and you say, I can tell this was made 50 years ago, and like I can understand why people used to like it, but it doesn't. But this one really holds up. I mean, you mentioned this, but to me, so personally, I am not like, I want to see every slasher movie that comes out. Like, I know there's plenty of people like that is just their thing and they love it.
Yeah.
To me, a big part of the appeal for this one is the simplicity and is it's not just as gory as it can. Like, a lot of it is a kid looking out the window saying, there's the boogeyman, and he's just across the street standing there. Like, that creeps me out big time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's an aspect of this film that is just it kind of speaks to the filmmaker's toolkit. Like, what can I use to build suspense? What can I use to create this feeling? Like, I made a note rewatching this for this show, like, even when nothing's happening, you feel like you keep waiting for him to just pop out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, especially like, the baby, she's watching the other kids, and, Kyle Richards is in this for Housewives of Beverly Hills. And, but it's those things too, where like the kills are coming, right? And you're so saturated on like, okay, but even like the kills are good from 78. And it's kind of like, you do kind of have the ones like, oh, they're going to get frisky, they're going to get whoopee. There's some
titties in this.
Yeah, there are. Yeah. But you know what? Michael Myers doesn't care.
No.
And, but I really like the way that it kind of is like, you're just waiting. And there is, some of the best horror films are the ones that like, they don't have to show me blood and guts and everything like that, like the Terrifier movies, but it's just dread. It's just the dread of like, okay, he's here. And like some stuff is in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Where they have him like driving by and stuff like that, which there is, I have to say, I was telling Brett, which I don't know if you know this or not, but there's a story, and I don't know who of the film crew, but one of them, while they're shooting one of the scenes where he's in the bushes, right, and he shows up, is smoking. And in one of the scenes where they show her, you see his smoke. Like the smoke is there. And it's one of the crew members who's literally just smoking. And there's also one where I wish I knew the whole story. I can't remember, but I know that like in the closet where he starts stabbing through the closet,
Yeah.
that there was at least 2 or 3 different people dressed up as Michael Myers, and one of the people that was like literally on the film crew dressed up as him to do like that scene. And like the way it was done, where it shouldn't have been a success, it should be just some kind of cheap sewn together thing, has stood the test of time.
I mean, this film had a budget of $300,000.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
I mean,
crazy.
even for 1978, and then it went on to have a run of $70 million at the box office.
And I mean, and that made Jamie Lee Curtis, right? That's her first movie.
Film. Yeah,
and then she would go on to do a couple of horror films before she would kind of branch out. But it's just amazing, that journey of the way this film has. And the thing is like no matter how many sequels came after it, Rob Zombie did a couple, and then David Gordon Green thought, okay, let's do my own trilogy with Jamie Lee Curtis. So the thing is that in so many ways, nothing beats the original.
Yeah. And I think it goes to John Carpenter kind of utilizing various things from the toolkit to build that suspense. Like, yeah, the theme song for the Halloween movies is world famous.
I love listening to it during spooky season.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. You can find a good techno remix of it too if you want to dance.
Oh,
well.
I've heard a lot, but I do.
It's
one in Ghostbusters.
It's no synthwave Nosferatu, but that's kind of hard to come by.
Right. No, I agree.
But the other pieces of the score too, there's
like
that
the strike of a synthesizer.
Yes.
Where it just feels like that music kind of dictates your emotion in those moments. Stuff like the first person shots where you're kind of seeing the events unfold through his mask, kind of building that suspense.
Well, you know, in A Violent Nature did that.
Yeah. Yeah, In a Violent Nature, the most boring horror movie I've ever seen in my life. Except for that one kill. And the one where he puts the guy in the machine. That was like, it oddly took too long to... Yeah,
and I don't want to get sidetracked, but the way that he got his uniform, I thought, oh, okay, that's all right. That's fine. But yes.
Stuff like the slow, if you watch, like there's a scene where... Laurie's coming out to her car and the camera's just kind of very slowly zooming in, and it kind of feels like you're just watching something, using those technical aspects and using things like the score and the music and the cinematography of it, the way things are shot, where
it's that less is more.
You may see something that the characters in the film don't necessarily see, and it builds that sort of dread, like something's coming.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a masterful job of filmmaking that kind of reflected a level of care that not a lot of horror movies have mastered the way this one did.
Yeah, well, and what's even, I think, more kind of mind-boggling is that it is people still can't really do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn, he figured it out then and has gone on to make, all these different... iconic horror movies, but it's just kind of funny. But what's even more to me, what I think people don't really understand is what this movie did for the genre.
Yeah,
and
sure.
And what everybody has borrowed from it. And it will always be in something that we see. It does not matter what it is, but that's why I really liked, and I didn't really think much of it, but I watch it. I try to watch it every October, but I do, like I said, I do save it towards the end. It's kind of like okay, this is the finale.
Well, that was another question I wanted to ask you guys. Like, is this one of the main events close to Halloween?
I don't watch it at the beginning or anything. I can't say I watch it on Halloween, but that 28th, 29th, 30th, I will watch both of them back to back.
Because I could also see where this is one that's kind of a tone setter. You watch it early on, you're like, okay,
I can see where if you want to kick off to it, but I kind of ease into it, but I do enjoy, and if I can, I do try to watch both. It's a lot of fun if your son watches it and screams and screams and screams.
Okay.
Because of how scary it is, obviously. But
that's.
But I love
That's a tone setter.
Yeah, it is. But I like watching at the end, but I love just the way that the way that John Carpenter kind of establishes things from the beginning. And you know what's
They jump right in.
yeah, and you know what's funny is that no matter what kind of remakes, reboots, legacy, whatever, they don't really change a whole like.
No.
He kind of set the standard in '78, and everybody's just kind of figuring it out as they've gone on. And I know John Carpenter doesn't really have much to do with much of these anymore, and I don't think he really gives a shit. But it's amazing the things that like the little things. And one of the things that pops up is and there's a whole behind the scenes thing in the I can't remember. There used to be this TV show where it kind of took you behind the scenes. It was kind of like off the page or something. They did Jaws and Halloween and stuff. But one of the things, and I don't know the full story, I forgot, but is how innovative it was to show the pumpkin reverse as it goes through the credits of the opening. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't show, it actually shows it going up before it goes. And like that, to me, like that's a little thing. But now when I watch it, I don't fast forward past any. I want to hear the music. I want to hear that score. I want to see that pumpkin. Like it's all part of it.
It does such a fantastic job. And talking about the setting of the film as well, the fictional town of Illinois, it does such a fantastic. Excuse
me, a fictional Illinois is real.
The Haddonfield, the fictional town of Haddonfield.
I'm sorry, Illinois. I wanted to clear that up. That's a cash mistake.
How passionate you get about
that's right.
In defense of the state
Chicago's
of Illinois.
White Sox.
Yeah. So I don't even remember what I was going to say now.
Sorry, but yes, it is a made up town. That is. Oh yes, that is true.
Like the ambiance, like leaning into the lore of like. What's Halloween, the jack-o'-lanterns, kids are trick-or-treating. There's a festive quality to it that kind of, it adds a timeless sort of quality to the film where like this is something that people can watch today and feel like, oh, that's the good old days.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird because there is a sort of dissonance between that and the events that unfold in the movie.
Yes, but you know what? And it's, you're right. It's such an odd term, but like I think that's why a lot of people enjoy Christmas Story, even though it's not my personal favorite.
Yeah, sure.
But for me, if I watch Christmas Vacation, it's like, oh, family coming over and oh, they're getting the lights and stuff. Like there is something about it. And I think Halloween is one of the is a rarity in the sense that it does give you these feels, but it is a horror movie. And me personally, I don't really buy horror movies. Like I don't really watch them because nothing really gives you that same feeling again because you've seen it. But every now and then, and Halloween is one, A Quiet Place is one, I want to have because there's just a feeling you get, and it's that atmosphere and it's that tone and for Halloween, location because it does make you feel like it's a small town and there's innocence to it. And it's not like it's some strange killer. It is someone who's actually from there, and they briefly tell you, like, well, this is what happened. And, there's no real explanation about it.
Yeah.
And you have to think, in the first one, it's not the whole kind of spiritual thing is not addressed. It's just a kid who's grown up, and it's
simple.
Yep. Yeah, and except when you bring in, oh, my God, what's his name? Loomis,
yeah.
When you bring him in, it's which we talked about, where I think he's on a different level, but
he's at a 25 out of 10.
Yeah. Like everyone's like, hey, this is what we're doing. He heard Shakespeare and he went for it.
I feel like, it's all kind of like predicated on he's had all this experience with Michael Myers.
He's the veteran. Yeah, well,
in the character.
Yeah,
but it also feels like that guy probably just wouldn't be a good hang in general. Yeah, like even if he had never met Michael Myers, like he's just.
He had a bit of flair.
I think he's a British actor, and I do remember, and I wish I remember this show, but he was basically like, he was a serious actor that kind of took on something that obviously was not familiar to him and didn't know. And John, what does he know? No one's famous in the movie. He's probably the most well-known if you know him. But there are times where it does feel like he's reading these lines and the delivery is not quite what you would expect. And I feel like in this day and age, someone said, hey, let's pump the brakes a minute. But
There's times it felt like should be on stage somewhere.
yeah, like I mean, it's so theatrical that it's like, oh, like, but we're like in a movie that's like you said, like it's $300,000. Like I'm not quite sure where we are. But then there's other times where it's like, oh, you know, he kind of brings like
kind of adds a nice touch.
Yeah, like it's kind of like, oh, like shit, yeah, you know.
There's a sense of urgency.
Yeah,
with
I
this
should
guy.
be concerned.
He brings the weight. Yeah.
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 He walked so Michael Caine could run in a Muppet Christmas story.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, he could. God, did he run?
You were talking. You were talking about. You guys were talking about the timeless nature. One thing to me that stands out is just the genius of a killer movie being set on Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's a line in the movie where Loomis says, the sheriff is saying, I'm going to call the station, get them to alert everyone of what he looks like, that he's out here. Loomis says, I don't want you to do that because they'll see him on every corner. And I think for us, every year that you go out and everyone's walking in the neighborhood, there's still that question of like, is that him? Like, is one of these people him again?
I think I know the difference between a movie and reality, but
but I think that's what sparks the fear and keeps it going.
Well, because and you have to think,
and to your point, like when we were kids, I remember Michael Myers being a sort of legendary thing. So like to the younger generations, it is kind of like, oh, he's out there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That, and I feel like Jason Voorhees was always like the go-to, like you know, it was The Mask or the hockey mask.
The Mask, the Jim Carrey movie?
But him too. I was thinking of Jamie Kennedy. Did you see that one?
I did not see that one.
Can we do a rewind on The Mask?
Yeah, absolutely
we
can.
I actually have watched it within the past like 5 to 10 years, and it's not really my favorite Jim Carrey. But I'm willing to do it. But yeah, I really like. I just like the fact of where you're like what you're talking about, where there's things where it's more realistic in a way because and again they explore different things as the franchise goes on. But in that first one, it is very much of like a, well, I mean, you could have somebody that's great. I mean, you know, he lived there.
Yeah.
People, you know, his house is obviously. I mean, it's nothing that I can't imagine now that. Oh, that's where so and so lived. Oh, he killed his. I mean, it's that stuff. Like I remember thinking, like some of the scariest stuff to me is like the 2008 version, like of The Strangers, where like it doesn't quite make sense, but that's just people. Like people come back to do it, you know, and like
made that decision.
Yeah. Like the ghosts and stuff is one thing, but it's not. But that's not to me as creepy as just like a. I would think the only other like kind of ghostly movie that does still kind of give me the creeps is like The Conjuring, where it's kind of like, oh, that's okay. That could, but when you have somebody that, I mean, you really are talking about mental health and you are talking about like, you know, the way he grew up, and it's like, well, okay, he does look this way, but just act like he come back and then take his vengeance out on somebody, and you already know kind of how he was as a kid. It's not as far-fetched as a lot of the other stuff is. Like Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger and stuff. Yes, I get it, but okay. But I always felt like it's kind of I think it speaks to Halloween being kind of the OG because it was something that was simple, but it was also something very much that was more grounded. The first movie more grounded than as people started to kind of build these from, and I mean, like you said, the slasher genre has become such a thing, and we kind of wanted to go back to that kind of style, you know, but it's tough. It's a tough deal. It's so crazy that it seems so easy to do in 78 and so cheaply done, but at the same time, to try and replicate that or duplicate it is so tough because of all the other shit that have been made, and it seems like it has to have this and gore and blood when it's actually like, no, you really don't need it. But I don't think Halloween would ever be made the same if it was done in the past 10, 15 years. There's no way.
Well, a lot of the technical limitations actually benefit it long term because they just had to do what they could and, use the tools that they had. Something that, this is going back to what Stoney was saying about the technical side of it, but the things that are so good about it to me are the quietness, the slowness, the breathing room that they, even, we were talking about the score, like there's the obvious famous song.
Yeah.
There's one or two other pieces that are repeated throughout, but they're not continuous. There's a lot of times that are just kind of silence or him breathing or, him watching or whatever.
It's almost like a negative space sort of thing, like using the music to rile you up and then taking it away to make you uneasy. And likewise, showing you a glimpse of him standing across the street and then taking him away and showing you nothing there and kind of letting your imagination do the legwork there to create that sort of tension. I mean, to me, like, this is like gold standard of horror kind of stuff. This is
agreed.
This is a veritable masterpiece.
Yeah, and it, like you said, I mean, just the resources that they had to make something like this. And again, like I said, it does stand the test of time. And now I'll be honest, I wouldn't watch this any other time of the year. But I remember one of the things was that that they were shocked that no one had ever called a movie Halloween and that took place on Halloween. That they could not believe nothing had ever been made.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what has led, like, I mean, fast forward all these years where Eli Roth does Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And no one has done, so and I kind of thought, wow, that's kind of weird. But I do think there was a thing about the name of it because something else was called Halloween. It had nothing to do with the movie, but that they were going to call it something else. And anyway, I can't imagine it being called anything else. And then the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis, I mean, that first, like, it's just crazy how some things happen. We've talked about this a lot through other films. But
I was about to say, like, we talked about that with Michael Keaton and Night Shift back in May's episode of this podcast. Is like, what a moment in time. I mean, can you imagine to go back to 1978, knowing what you know about Jamie Lee Curtis's career today?
Yeah.
And
being
watching
pitched
it through
on
that
that
lens. Yeah.
Being pitched on that. And I mean, she's from a famous family, but still to get that time. And then, like, she would go on, what was it, prom night? Like, she did a couple of things. Yeah. So, it is amazing how much, like, I still enjoy it. And it still captures everything you could possibly imagine dealing with spooky season and Halloween, but the story of how it was made is incredible.
I think that's ultimately what, like, the essence of this film is what makes it so timeless, is that it kind of feels like something that will be equally as enjoyable today as it will be 50 years from now.
Yeah. It's not one of those where it's kind of like, well, I appreciate what they did, but didn't like it, and that we've done those from a lot of these movie review rewind podcasts. But this one really is one that, like I said, I do try to save it to the end. It's kind of like the finale for me, but at the same time, it's I just love what he did, and then what they were able to kind of capture in that time. That I mean, there's no way they did this and thought, in 50 years.
Yeah,
people are going to look at this, and this is going to start a whole new thing.
Crazy to think that we're only 3 years away from this movie being 50 years old.
Yeah, but then I also see where, like, John Carpenter basically, like, sitting back and like, you do what you want.
I did my part.
I did what I wanted to do.
I did my part. Yeah.
Good for him.
Well, that's all of the notes that I have on 1978's Halloween. Any parting thoughts from either of you guys?
I made some notes. I just want to call out that there's a lot of maybe unintentionally really funny moments in this movie.
Yeah.
Loomis says to someone says to him, he can't drive a car. Loomis says, he was doing very well last night. Maybe someone around here gave him lessons. Then Michael proceeds to drive a car great for the rest of the movie. I mean, that's all he's doing. Just
cruising around town.
I want to know who gave him lessons.
When Michael comes back in Bob's glasses with a sheet over his head.
Yes.
That's a great comedic scene, whether intended or not.
Yes.
Yeah, I think one thing that I was thinking about is, something that tends to age movies, but at other times I think benefits them, and I think it's the case with this one. Things like they're making phone calls from landlines and not dated cell phones. A dated cell phone looks silly, but a landline is like, oh, we all know what that is, and we know we don't use them now. That's right. Yeah.
There's one in the kitchen. You have to stand.
And I think there's a thing about the whole, like, it's Halloween night and, like, you're babysitting and the kids don't really are comprehending, like, what's going on. Like, there's this innocence to it on top of the violence that obviously is occurring that, you know, everyone's kind of being exposed to.
One other thing I wanted to call out that I did not catch until the rewatch for this. The kids, Tommy is watching The Thing on TV, which is a John Carpenter movie.
Yes.
So that is like a king move, like putting your own movie in your movie that they're watching.
I never noticed that.
Well,
that's pretty awesome.
The thing is, I mean, that's also a good one. John Carpenter, I mean, he can hang his hat on almost everything that he has done up until, I mean, you know, there's some things where he kind of did like John Carpenter's vampires, stuff like that, okay, but yeah, like I don't watch The Thing that much, the Kurt Russell one. I don't watch that one that much, but I have, and I actually really like it. It is, it's tense, but it's sort of like with Halloween where it's atmospheric, where it's kind of like, oh, you know what, that setting is just right.
It's also got Wilford Brimley.
Oh, well, my God.
What about John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars?
Oh, yeah, is that the Ice Cube one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he did Escape from L.A., Big Trouble in Little China.
Yep.
I thought he only did horror movies.
I was saying, nope. I do remember thinking him and Kurt Russell had done a lot together in their younger days.
Yeah, a lot of... I didn't realize he's behind They Live. Cult classic as well.
Yeah.
So...
Starring Roddy Piper.
Exactly.
Roddy
I'm
Piper.
all out of chewing gum. But yeah, that was I can't imagine a world where you don't watch it every October.
Yeah, it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore of Halloween movies?
Oh.
Too hard on the spot?
I mean,
not spooky season.
Yeah.
I'm not going to count my my Wolfman.
Oh, you
but
mean
like Halloween? Yeah.
Shit, I don't even know. I watched it actually happen on Halloween.
Halloween, Hubie Halloween,
Hocus Pocus,
and Halloween 2018.
Yeah, I was going to say, so just Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, Monster House would be up there because I know Halloween happens.
Yeah,
because they're decked out in it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you said it, Stoney. Having only seen this in the last few years for the first time, I don't think it can be improved upon. Like, I think this is as good as it gets with a horror movie.
Yeah.
It really does. But what's so crazy is that there's nothing.
Forgot Ernest Scared Stupid set on Halloween. House of
There's
1,000
nothing-
Corpses is set on Halloween.
That I'm gonna tell one of the ones I actually have come to like in the past few years that I watch every year is that Trick or Treat. It's an
Trick or
anthology
Treat
one.
set on Halloween.
But that one was pretty good. I just don't. It's amazing of what they did then, and then how it's kind of seen where over time. It was a success in its own right then, but the fact that it is just something that people have tried to do over and over, and it's just like, what if you got it right the first time?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if you actually got it right the first time? The closest thing to it is 2018's, and I think it's because it is very much a reminder of what 78 was like when it came out, and I think that's part of it too.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing that again for the first time.
Yeah, I was going to say, you should really watch it. You should take notes.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know if I have Mount Rushmore in Halloween movies. More is my spooky season, but like I said, I love doing a double feature of both of those.
Well, there you go.
What about Halloween, Halloween 2, Season of the Witch, and 2018?
Halloween 4 and Resurrection, Halloween H2O. Yeah. No, I would probably put 78 and 2018 up there. I would probably, like, off the top of my head, Monster House, because I know there is trick-or-treating involved, and I do enjoy that. I don't know if Paranorman is during Halloween.
Oh yeah, I can't remember. Either.
But yeah, I mean, I would immediately put those up there just because they are a annual, like, it has to be every.
Is any part of Coco on Halloween? I know
don't
it's
know.
Day of the Dead, but is the beginning
honest.
of the movie on
I
Halloween?
think I was thinking of Coco, but I wanted to say Encanto. And
No,
I don't think that's part of Halloween
That is
at
not
all.
set on Halloween.
But
No.
Trick or Treat, I like. I feel like there's a big one on Halloween, and not
Hubie
Halloween.
Halloween.
No, but something else that like.
I feel
does
like
take place.
Beetlejuice has a scene in
It is
on Halloween.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is the original Beetlejuice in
No, the
Halloween?
second.
That just the
No,
second
no,
sequel.
I can't do that.
Yeah. So
I mean, basically
Halloween Town.
Yeah, well,
Halloween Town. There we go.
Halloween.
Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yeah. Well, I just haven't seen that in so long, but I know that's fresh on your mind.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's going to do it for us today.
Yeah.
We made it to the end of my notes. Brandon, you got anything else you want to empty the clip here?
No. It just makes me excited about spooky season, and it's in regular rotation every year. So,
Well, there you go.
I love going from Jamie Lee Curtis to Chevy Chase. So
well, this is the first of 5 spooky season themed episodes of the Movie Review Rewind podcast. You can expect a new one in your inbox every Friday morning for the month of October. 5 episodes this season. If you're subscribed to NashvilleMovieDispatch.substack.com, that's going to do it for this episode. We've got 4 more fun, action-packed. No, not action-packed.
scary.
Scary movies to talk about this month. We hope you will join us for sure. Rate, review, subscribe wherever you take in your podcast. We ain't too hard. Excuse me. What? We ain't too hard to find.
Ain't too hard for
these
trick or treating.
Internet streets. For Brett and for Brandon, I'm Stoney, and until next time, you stay classy, moviegoers.